They thought the Sahara would bury the experiment without a trace. Yet, in the dead center of the world's harshest desert, far from cameras and witnesses, a team of scientists carried out a test no government wanted linked to their name. They arrived with sealed crates of frozen honeybees and a single disturbing goal. They wanted to see if fragile life could endure a landscape built to kill anything that moves. The instant the lids opened, the team witnessed a reaction that made several researchers back away in disbelief. It was something far more unsettling, and none of them wanted to say aloud what it resembled. In 2020, a global team of entomologists arrived with millions of honeybees frozen solid, preserved under brutal cold to keep them alive for months. These weren't garden pollinators, they were biological experiments. The plan was simple in theory. Release them into one of Earth's hottest, driest regions and see if life could resist the desert's silent hostility. Could bees handle days that scorched and nights that froze? Could they find water, food, any foothold at all in dunes designed to starve everything? The scientists mapped the terrain with exacting detail, laying out sensors to record temperature swings, humidity drops, even subtle movements in shifting sand. Drones circled overhead, watching for the faintest sign of adaptation. One mistake could end the entire project in seconds. When the first bees thawed and took their hesitant steps into the Sahara, the desert seemed to swallow them instantly. Cameras captured them staggering, wings quivering, bodies struggling to orient under the blistering sky. The tension was unbearable. Either they adapted, or the heat would finish them before the experiment even began. Most died almost immediately, but a stubborn few clung to life, gathering around microscopic traces of moisture, or the rare stubborn shrubs that had managed to bloom in the sand. It felt as though the desert tolerated their presence, but only on its own merciless terms. The researchers didn't interfere. Their duty was to observe, not rescue. So every flicker of movement became a miracle. Every flight, every sip of dew, every moment the bees defied the desert's rules felt like a victory carved out of impossible odds. No one could predict what came next. Would the bees disappear into the dunes, lost forever to the heat? Or would they carve out a new existence where nothing should logically thrive? The full answer would take time, but the revelations from those first tense hours were enough to shake even the most hardened scientists. The real tension began after arrival. The bees couldn't simply be thawed at once. Each batch had to be released with precision. It has to be the right hour, the right wind direction, the nearest scrap of vegetation. A single miscalculation could wipe out the data before the experiment even began. Each release area had been chosen with intention. Some offered tiny shrubs, others held pockets of moisture or narrow shaded spaces where the faintest signs of life might endure. The desert demanded perfection, and the scientists knew it. Then came the extremes. Daytime heat above 50 degrees, nights dropping towards freezing, winds shifting without warning, sometimes spinning into sudden sandstorms that could erase a microcolony. Researchers spent hours studying satellite feeds, sensors, and drones just to pick the safest moments. Tracking the bees became its own battle. Millions of insects scattered across a hostile landscape meant the team needed microchips and survival tags small enough to avoid weighing the bees down. Drones swept the dunes, and each signal that returned felt like a heartbeat. Every release was nerve-wracking. The bees lifted into blistering air, and for long stretches, the desert offered nothing back. Storms, predators, and temperature swings meant every batch was a gamble. By the time the last bees were released, the team was exhausted. They had set one of the boldest experiments in motion, but now the Sahara held the outcome in its hands.
Yet among the losses, there were small pockets of hope. Tiny clusters of bees were huddled together, their bodies pressed close, almost instinctively, forming miniature shelters. Some found refuge near small patches of moisture that had collected overnight, while others clung to rare desert shrubs that somehow survived the harsh conditions. These were the first signs that some bees were not just surviving, but responding to the environment in ways the scientists had never imagined. The researchers began analyzing every detail of these behaviors. Why would these bees clustering while the majority perished? How were they finding the scarce water sources? What made certain plants, like the hardy acacia and a few resilient shrubs, magnets for survival? The team realized that even in one of the harshest climates on Earth, nature's tiniest engineers were finding solutions on their own. The drones would capture a bee struggling against the wind, only to see it finally land on a shrub or dip into a drop of dew. Each surviving bee felt like a thread of hope. For a moment, it looked as if the desert would swallow the colonies completely. Then the data began to reveal something no one expected. Some subgroups were adjusting their behavior far faster than expected. They were changing foraging patterns, adjusting flight times to avoid the peak sun, and clustering in ways that maximized their chance of survival. It became clear that these bees were exhibiting a previously unknown desert tolerance potential. The scientists could barely keep up with documenting the adaptations. Even small details mattered. The angle at which a bee landed on a shrub, the way it clustered with its companions, and the timing of its movements all became critical pieces of information. If the patterns observed in these few survivors could spread to other colonies, it might mean something far bigger. Honeybees could endure environments that had been considered impossible. By the end of the first day, the scientists were exhausted and exhilarated at the same time. They had watched a massacre of millions of bees, but they had also glimpsed the incredible power of survival instincts in action. The Sahara had claimed the majority, but it had also revealed a sliver of life that refused to die. The question now loomed larger than ever. Could these few survivors endure long enough to reproduce and establish permanent colonies in a place no one thought possible? As the weeks slowly turned into months, the small number of surviving bees began to show something no one had predicted. What started as a desperate fight to stay alive was changing into a display of surprising intelligence. The bees were learning how to exist in the desert in their own way, adapting to challenges that should have wiped them out. They began forming microcolonies underground, burrowing into small hollows and sand crevices to escape the relentless sun. These tiny shelters became hubs of activity, a hidden world beneath the harsh surface. The scientists watched in amazement as the bees coordinated their movements, creating pathways and chambers that maximized shade and minimized exposure. It was survival like no one had ever documented before. Foraging habits changed too. Instead of wandering aimlessly under the blistering sun, the bees restricted their activity to dawn and dusk when temperatures were more forgiving. Every flight was calculated. They hovered over shrubs with precision, collecting what little nectar was available and avoiding the hottest hours entirely. The drones captured each careful movement, revealing a level of strategic planning in the desert that had never been seen in honeybees before. With no streams or ponds, the bees learned to rely on dew condensation that formed on plant leaves overnight. They landed delicately, extracting tiny droplets one at a time. Every sip mattered, and missing a drop could be fatal. The scientists recorded this with infrared cameras, showing the bees' precise coordination in finding and sharing these rare water sources. The desert itself began to show a quiet change. Plants that had struggled for years started carrying traces of pollen, and a few even pushed out fresh blooms more often than before. The bees were not just holding on, they were leaving small but undeniable marks on the land around them. This was no longer survival, but the start of a new desert ecosystem taking shape, with the bees acting as a delicate but powerful force inside it. The bees were adapting physically. Some had developed slightly darker wings and thicker exoskeletons, which seemed to help them retain moisture and resist heat. Others had stronger legs for gripping coarse sand and plants. These changes were far from random. There were clear signs that the bees were adapting quickly to one of the most extreme climates on Earth. A sudden sandstorm could destroy a microcolony in minutes, while predatory insects and desert birds constantly threatened the fragile clusters struggling to survive. The scientists tracked each threat closely, knowing that a single misstep could end months of careful observation. Yet, despite the danger, the bees continued to adjust, and each day that passed without catastrophe felt like a small miracle. By the end of the third month, it became clear that these bees were more than just survivors. They were pioneers, carving out a hidden niche in the desert and showing a level of intelligence no one had predicted. The question now was bigger than survival. Could these bees thrive long enough to reproduce and establish permanent colonies in a place no one thought possible?